Previously on Animorphs.
The hills are alive with the sound of music.
Welcome to the first episode of Season 2. As previously mentioned, there was a 7-month gap between seasons in Canada, but for us Americans, we had to wait a whole 11 months to see the conclusion of this story. I remember people online thinking that the show had actually been cancelled by the time February had rolled around. So Jake has morphed Tom, and the Yeerks don't know which is which. What's the first thing they do? Turn on the fucking lights. And about time, too. The Yeerk pool's been a hazard zone for the last 2 episodes. Wait, why is there light in that room? I thought Jake had destroyed the light bulb with his belt in the last episode. They even show the scene in the previously on Animorphs recap thing at the beginning. Oh, and on that note, we're at Season 2. Shouldn't Paulo Costanzo be in the opening by now? So we open with a scene where a controller dots over a bag of super Yeerks like the bag itself is an infant. I hope someone is recording that so that Mommy Yeerk can have something to embarrass your new kids with. Marco and Tobias try to come up with a plan, and credit where credit is due, Christopher Ralph does a great job portraying 2 people controlling one body. There's a lot of subtlety in his performance, like this moment when Rachel starts to get worried.
Axe, can you hear me?
Yes. Rachel, I need to morph. I've only got 5 minutes and 42 seconds remaining until I'm stuck in this human morph forever.
Hang on, Axe. We'll do something. Just wait until I give the word.
What are you going to do?
We don't know yet.
That's not Tobias's worried face. That's clearly Christopher Ralph playing Brooke Nevin's Rachel, so, bravo on that. So yeah, back to Double Trouble. One of the Toms orders one of the lower controllers to get a scanner to detect the Yeerk in his head. However, he slips up and not addressing the controller by his name, and now everyone suspects him to be the Andalite. Along with the lighting, the whole episode has a very different feel from the previous 2, and the reason for that is simple. There's a different director here than in the previous 2 episodes, as well as a different screenwriter, a different script editor, and an additional producer. And yes, I did cross-reference the credits. So Part 3 was made with a very different creative team from Parts 1 and 2. I can't speak for what happened behind the scenes. I don't have the facts. I wasn't there. But if I had to guess, I assume the productions team seriously thought the show wouldn't continue past Season 1 and didn't bother to even script out the final part. Hey, what did I say about ending a season with a cliffhanger, damn it? Then Season 2 got greenlit, and they had to pull the old Yeerk pool sets out of storage and try to pick up where they left off, probably not being able to get the original director and screenwriters because of scheduling problems. I assume this final part wasn't even outlined beforehand, because I think the new screenwriter felt that the previous 2 episodes had written her into a corner, and she had no idea how to continue, because this trilogy concludes in one of the oddest and dumbest ways possible. You'll see what I mean in a moment. So Rachel starts freaking out and demands to be let out, so Tobias tries to find a safe spot. Wow, look at all those holes in the wall. This just occurred to me. I mean, literally, as I sat down to record this audio, the biofilter in the Yeerk pool is at the end of this hall, not at the entrance to the hall, not to the entrance to the Yeerk pool proper. So what's stopping the Andalite bandits from just crawling through these giant holes undetected? Tobias manages to coach Rachel into leaving his head and demorphing, and the 2 of them share an awkward silence, usually reserved for boys in middle school when they wear sweats to school and accidentally get an erection in front of the girl that... I mean, I'm not the only one that's happened to, right? Marco wanders around the Yeerk pool without much difficulty, managing to find where the Yeerks keep their barrels of random crap.
Rachel gives lousy directions.
Hey! Visitor 3 needs help in the brood chamber. They've got an Andalite.
Okay, I'll get right on it. It's like taking candy from a baby.
Did I mention the Yeerks are idiots? Eventually, Marco stumbles on the whole 2 Tom situation and manages to deduce what's going on. Jake as Tom tries to play for time. I guess there's only one Yeerk scanner and they have to wrestle it away from someone. Visitor 3 eventually pulls a Rita Repulsa.
Be there. You two are giving me a headache.
Oh, I have such a headache! It hurts!
Marco slips into the Yerkpool nursery and starts fiddling with things to cause a distraction, eventually setting the whole place to overheat, causing the new Yerks to scream. Whereas the real Tom would consider this another battle cry, Jake as Tom acts concerned and runs to rescue the new Yerks, making Visor 3 believe that the real Tom is the Andalite bandit. Not sure if the Tom approaching is real or not, Marco slips into the same maintenance thing from earlier. Tobias and Rachel get captured and are put in line for infestation, where Axe is nearing the end of his 2 hours. Marco ends up in another room of random things.
Yes. Control room.
How do you know it's a control room? Because control room kind of implies controls and a controller. This has neither. It looks more like the Yerk's boiler room to me. Or the room of important things made of fine china, because Marco manages to throw a square of lightweight plastic at something, which causes the power to go off and the entire place to shake around. This gives Axe the chance to demorph, but he struggles with it.
Hurry, Axe. I'm trying. I can't finish. I think I'm stuck.
No, I'm afraid I just blew myself. There's got to be a better way to say that.
Marco morphs Cockroach and makes a run for it. Cassie manages to coach Axe through his morph, and the Animorphs book it to the locker room. See, this is what I mean by getting written into a corner. Marco threw a bit of lightweight plastic and an unidentified thing, and now the entire Yerkpool is self-destructing. No, really, Marco destroys the Yerkpool with a square of plastic. The book Animorphs needed a subway train full of military explosives to do that. This is the last we see of the Yerkpool. The Animorphs have just destroyed the base of the Yerk invasion, destroyed this entire new breed of Yerks, and saved all of these kids because Marco threw a thing at a thing. That is not a good climax. This just leaves the fate of Jake. We see an unidentified Tom nearly get buried by rubble, and finally Jake as Tom emerges from the destroyed Yerkpool.
Okay. Can I have everyone's attention, please? You'll be pleased to know that we can all leave here in an orderly fashion. Tornado has passed and the crisis is over.
The fuckity fuck. Annie TV, did you seriously send a bunch of kids down into an underground cave with a bubbling pool of death, line them up and try to stick slugs in their ears, watch the place collapse on itself, and you honestly think they're still gonna think that this was all about a tornado? How the fuck can you cover this up? The structure below the school is compromised, but the school itself is just fine. Are they going to think that the whole thing was caused by some kind of underground tornado? What happens when everyone these people know have no knowledge of this tornado warning? Isn't someone going to get the slightest bit suspicious? And you want to know what's weird? This isn't even the end of the episode. Another sign the writers didn't know what they were doing is that we spend the next 5 fucking minutes watching the Animorphs relax at the cyber cafe. First off, is this place open 24/7 or something? Second, 5 minutes of nothing important happening. When you take out the recap, the opening theme, closing credits, and the commercial breaks, that's 25% of this episode. And nothing fucking happens! It's a long stream of Marco trying to get everyone to acknowledge that he basically destroyed the Yerkpool single-handedly. Or, I guess there was this.
Authorities are looking for multi-millionaire Victor Trent, seen here in connection with an underground explosion earlier this evening. Any information?
No, I don't know how he got identified and attached to this explosion. None of the students brought down got anywhere near Visor 3. No one saw him. The behind-the-scenes reason for this was that this was the last episode for Eugene Lipinski. I guess he didn't want to go down with the ship. However, this will not be the last we see of Visor 3. We'll get to that when we get to that. Oh, and the whole Earth Women Want to Fuck Axe subplot continues with this waitress who seems turned on with Axe's poor table manners. No, I don't want to talk about it. Post-episode follow-up. Honestly, while really bad, this trilogy of episodes didn't make me as upset as some of the others. It's almost kind of a wonderful clusterfuck of ideas. In fact, I think that's the main problem. There are a bunch of ideas here that could have made good episodes by themselves if the people behind the show had put the right amount of focus in. But together, they just make a confusing stew. I mean, we have the basketball game plot, the new breed of Yeerks, the inner politics between Tom and Chapman in Visor 3, the mysterious Anne, the discovery of what Elfanger's disc does, Tobias regaining his morphing powers, Rachel morphing a Yeerk, and the destruction of the Yeerk pool, none of which get the time they deserve. The transition between Part 2 and 3 probably wasn't noticeable when originally broadcast, but watching them back to back, you can tell some big changes happened behind the scenes, leaving Part 3 pretty adrift from what came before. Why did this season end with a cliffhanger? The destruction of the Yeerk pool makes a more satisfying season ender than a season opener, because we could open season 2 with the Yeerks raising the stakes like they never had before. And they kinda do, because you'll see in the final episode of the series, the Yeerks somehow managed to come up with more and more retarded schemes. In retrospect, destroying the Yeerk pool was probably the worst thing that ever happened in this series. Still, I don't find myself as angry as I've been with this show in the past. I don't know, maybe I'm just getting jaded, I don't know. As a whole, all 3 episodes together, I give Face Off a 3 out of 10.
This one is for you.